Welcome, pizza pie loving star-crossed lovers, to Geek Salad's Retro Movie Reviews for the Geek Salad Podcast. I'm Andy.
And I'm Mike.
And tonight we are talking about yet another Best Picture also ran. This year we're picking the decade of the 80s, and we decided instead of doing Raging Bull, which would have been a little heavy, especially after Network, we decided to do something a little lighter. 1987's Moonstruck, which, if you look at the list of nominees for Best Picture, this was the only thing that would have qualified as the runner-up.
I did not see what it ran up against.
It was all right. So the winner that year was The Last Emperor, which won every award it was nominated for. It was nominated for 9 awards. It won all of them.
That seems like it's one of those Oscar bait.
It's an Oscar bait movie. It had the prestige of director Bernardo. Oh, good Lord! What is wrong with that? I can't even think of the name. Bertolini.
That sounds about right. Yeah.
Yeah. 1 second. Pulling it up. Last Emperor.
All right, there it is. Last Emperor, directed by
Bernardo Bertolucci.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So the only other movie nominated for Best Picture that year that won any Oscars was Moonstruck, which took 3: Best Actress, Supporting Actress, and Original Screenplay. Broadcast News, Fatal Attraction, and Hope and Glory were completely shut out. So.
Oh, that was Sean Connery's year for Best Supporting Actor.
Yes.
Nice.
Yeah. It's an interesting statement when a movie wins Best Picture, but has no acting nominations whatsoever.
Yeah. I when I see something like that, I'm like, okay, that means the movie was an Oscar bait movie.
It's like visually, it's attractive. It tells a big story, but you couldn't be bothered so much by the performances more than just the scope of the movie. And that's the thing with The Last Emperor. If you've ever seen The Last Emperor, it is a big, beautiful movie that I watched once in college and then never again.
Yeah, that one seems like one of those ones like, oh wow, that was a great movie. What's on next?
Yeah. Moonstruck, on the other hand, I think was outside of Fatal Attraction, which was just a phenomenon when it came out. Moonstruck was a bona fide hit. It was one of those movies too that got released late in the year, like so late in the year it technically could have qualified for a movie coming out at 98 in 88.
Yeah, I did notice that it had like a limited release and on December 18th, and then it had a world nationwide release on January 15th.
Yeah, it had a qualifying run in 87. Came out in 88. I saw it in 88. I was in high school. I saw it in 88. Prior to Cher winning Best Actress. I feel like the whole movie, especially thinking about it back then, it was built around the narrative of Cher not getting nominated for Best Actress for Mask, like 2 years earlier.
Oh yeah, it's weird because like you look at, because I've never seen Mask, and quite frankly, I don't really have any desire to.
Yeah,
it doesn't seem like it's going to be like the movie I would be really into.
Yeah.
But that seems like it's got Oscar bait, Best Actress nomination written all over it for.
It just got nominated for makeup, quite honestly. I watched it once. It's just like it hits the beats of a movie like a TV movie of the week, you know. She was nominated once before for supporting actress for the movie Silkwood.
Oh yeah, I remember hearing about that one.
But this was hands down the front runner. Nobody was going to touch her, even though I think a lot of people expected Glenn Close to win for Fatal Attraction. Again, that movie was a phenomenon. But it's like one of those movies that I think it just sparks more tabloid talk than anything else.
Yeah. This one though, this one's weird. It is a really really fun movie, but watching it because this is the first time I've seen it.
Mhm.
Yesterday, never seen it before. Um, I not once while I was watching it was I thinking this seems like a Best Picture nomination.
It's again, it was a weird year. 87 is one of those years that is better remembered for having a phenomenal like summer release slate than it does an actual like prestige slate. I mean, I honestly I think that could be said for a lot of movies that came out in the especially like mid to late 80s where there was a lot of prestige movies that were being made that had no like commercial
Yeah,
like they you know, hey, if we make some money, fantastic. It's not our top priority right now. It's to get the Oscar wins. I mean, if you go back and you think about some of the winners, I mean, starting like if we're talking mid 80s onward, you know, Out of Africa. Nobody talks about Out of Africa.
I mean, just being current. Uh, The Last Emperor, budget of 23.8 million, box office of 44. That
Yeah,
did not make its money back.
it didn't. It didn't.
So
Was that
that literally
global?
was
Was that
made
global or
only to make
domestic?
a. Yeah, that was only made to win Oscars, and that was it.
Right, right. Was that the global or domestic take though? The 44.
Uh, it's the Wikipedia big take.
Oh, okay. So I don't know. Maybe I doubt it would have made more internationally, especially because it probably wasn't even allowed to be shown in China
Probably not.
back then. Yeah, but you think about some of those Best Picture winners of that decade. You had Out of Africa. You had Platoon, which I think out of the late 80s wins is probably the best of the late 80s wins. Then you had The Last Emperor. You had Rain Man, and then you had Driving Miss Daisy. So there's this like progression of movies that are made solely to win Oscars. Every once in a while you get that blockbuster thrown in there like a Fatal Attraction, but I feel like Moonstruck, while it ended up becoming the runner-up, it was nominated on the strength of those acting nominations,
and rightfully
like,
so.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, this is easily the best performance I've ever seen Nicolas Cage give.
Okay. Okay.
I mean,
I'm assuming you've never seen Leaving Las Vegas.
I've never seen Leaving Las Vegas. No.
Gut wrenching. He earned his Oscar for that one.
But in general, I'm not a big fan of Nicolas Cage's acting.
Okay.
My regular thing is Nicolas Cage. Here's his happy face. Here's his mad face. Here's his surprise face. That's Nicolas Cage for me.
Okay. At this time, he was not a well-known actor. I mean, he'd done, you know, he was in movies before, and you know, trying to not write off of his family name of Coppola.
Oh yeah,
yeah. Which you know, I'll commend him. I'll commend him for that. Originally, that role was supposed to go to Peter Gallagher. You know Peter Gallagher from While You Were Sleeping, and he was in American Beauty.
Yeah, just trying to no.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
I think the one thing, and I told you about this yesterday, that I've seen this movie a couple of times, but the last time when I watched it for this, I had to switch my mindset because I don't think a movie like this could get made today. Not because it's like, oh, you know, well, you know, we're just a bunch of woke, you know, weak idiots now. I feel like the dialogue would never have played in any other decade besides the late 80s. This movie, based on its setup, its premise, its dialogue, sparked so many Hollywood Pictures rom-coms. I'm not even talking like Hollywood as in just like the the land of making movies. I'm talking like the Disney subsidiary. Uh,
Like Canon Films.
like Canon Films, exactly. It's like, okay, we're just going to capitalize on this. We're going to make a bunch of, weak sauce rom-coms. And this has got the original DNA built into it.
Yeah.
Any other decade, had it come out after something else, this would be considered a weak sauce rom-com. Because let's be honest, the dialogue is very stagey. And that, again, I'm kind of approaching this like a play. The setup for everything is just, they're just scene setups. They're just, again, they're staged scene setups from the restaurant at the very beginning to to having breakfast with the mother, like a couple scenes later. It moves from scene to scene to scene as if the stage crew is having to remove set.
Says the guy who's in the middle of Tech Week.
Yeah. Yeah, and also all the snow that I'm supposed to get at every rehearsal and performance night now.
Yeah.
We didn't get this much snow last year.
No, we did not.
Yeah. But again, this movie, while this movie won an Oscar for Best Screenplay, sure, this is all rooted in its performances.
I mean,
yeah,
absolutely. Cher and Olivia Dukakis earned those Oscars.
If I'm being honest, Olivia Dukakis actually gave a better performance than Cher did.
I would not disagree, but I've not seen a whole lot of Cher's acting abilities.
There's not a lot, actually. Believe it or not, there's not a lot of Cher's acting. She doesn't like it. Even though in 1987, the year she wins her Oscar, she was in two other reasonable hit movies. One of which was The Witches of Eastwick.
Oh yeah. Opposite of Jack Nicholson.
Yep. Jack Nicholson and Michelle Pfeiffer and Susan Sarandon. I just think that Olivia Dukakis' character, you can tell just from the get-go that she is just worn down by being in the rut of life. She's married to Cosmo, played by Vincent Gardenia, also an Oscar nominee for this movie. And I will always think of him as being Mr. Mushnick, but
oh yeah.
I
knew I'd seen him somewhere before. I just
he was also, somebody's going to correct us, he was also in Death Wish. But
yeah, Kurt's going to correct us on that one.
I was amazed he didn't pipe up already. But yeah, Olivia Dukakis, I think, just gives, she gives the performance of somebody who has lived in their life enough, and she's tired, and that's, she needs to speak her truths. I loved her scene with John Mahoney. I love that scene. And that scene, what's that?
I love that scene, especially because John Mahoney is not a good guy in this one. If you just consider what he's doing, he is he's having sex with his students.
Yeah, exactly. And he is also, the thing I like about it is that she asked him point blank, why do you chase women? And now he's kind of cornered by this more mature woman to have to explain that. So you can flesh that out. Yeah, he's not a good guy at all, but she is able to get this information out of him that he would probably never given to anybody else. He saw somebody, roughly about the same age as him, sit, have a drink, and just have that conversation. I really like that. John Mahoney's kind of an interesting case at this time in the 80s because he was this, and then he was Ione Skye's father in Say Anything, and then he went on to play Martin Crane in Frasier. From everything I heard, this was the role that kept him in mind when they decided that they were going to do Frasier. I remember seeing that guy in Moonstruck. So he was really good in this.
What I liked
about Cher in this movie was that for somebody who is, we think of her now and she's more machine than man now, but I mean, as somebody, especially at this time in the 80s, was considered very, very glamorous, very chic, willing to take those risks, and to dowdy her up, making her look plain, putting the gray streaks in her hair.
Yeah.
You know, like unkempt. And
then,
it
like,
worked because, again, she felt like a lived-in character.
Yeah, and then when she actually shows up at the opera,
Yeah,
and you got that reaction shot from Nicolas Cage, it's like you could feel like the breath going just being rushed out of him.
Yeah,
and I'm like, you felt it because this was the Cher that you expected to see the entire movie, but you hadn't.
And what I love is that she did it for herself. She didn't do it for him.
Yeah.
You know, she was going to take charge of that. So I really like that. Out of this ensemble, you've also got Danny Aiello.
For all the 5 minutes that he's in the movie.
The age gaps in this movie are insane.
Oh, yeah.
Considering, you know, I'm supposed to believe that Nicholas, you know, Ronnie is the younger brother.
Yeah, only like 13 years younger than Johnny. And
but they're
actually, I think he was like 27 years. Yeah,
I think close to 30 years difference. Even Cher and Nicolas Cage have, I think, at least an 18-year age gap.
Yeah, 17 or 18 years. Yeah.
Yeah, and this is a Cher thing. I mean, yeah, she was born 1946. Cage was 1964. So, yeah, an 18-year gap.
Yeah.
And while I never believed that they were, you know, age-wise contemporaries, saying that she's 37 and him just kind of looking like, you know, let's see, at that time, 23 years. He was 23 when he made this movie.
And he looks
young. He look, you know, the sideburns, just he didn't look like he was 30 yet. You know, but you were saying that the chemistry between them, really is. Go ahead, elaborate.
Oh yeah, no, it's like I actually texted you this.
Yeah,
I don't think I've ever seen. It's been a very long time since I've seen a movie where the male and female leads have that amount of chemistry that quickly.
Yeah,
like pretty much from the very first scene together in the basement of that bakery. There is just a click between them. It is amazing.
Yeah. Right. Well, part of that, and I think it's this, is that he is so over the top and she is so pulling back.
Yeah.
That it works where if they were at the same level, it probably wouldn't have worked as well. You need to have somebody like Ronnie with all the passion of his pain, because let's be honest, he is a fucking crybaby.
He is.
My hand. You lost some fingers. Yeah, it's tragic and everything like that. But I mean, if you look at the prosthetic, it's like, dude, you still have your hand. You're just missing some fingers.
Yeah. It's like you said, I lost my hand. I look at, no, I still see a lot of skin right there.
Hand is still there. Yeah, you're missing some digits.
Still got his thumb too.
Yeah. But you know, having Loretta be more kind of just going through the motions at this point. You know, she's had the best that life has given her. Life took it away from her, and that's it. So I feel like that really works towards their chemistry. Danny Aiello you could tell. I mean, they definitely had Johnny be definitely, like, from the word go, not a good fit. You're wondering why they're together.
Yeah, I mean, even when Rose talks to Loretta, it's like, do you love him? No, I like him a lot.
Yeah.
Good. It's like, yeah, that I that's what I got from them is, well, I like you.
Right.
You're good.
Exactly.
You're a good person.
And he's, I mean, the beauty is too with that is that he's such Johnny is such a mama's boy.
Yeah.
He's not really accommodating to Loretta. He's really just still like the whole thing with like getting on your knee. You know, I don't have a ring. Almost like he just decided in that moment to propose to her.
Yeah. You got a pinky ring. I like my pinky ring.
Yeah, but at
Like,
the end,
it was too dirty.
but the end until up until the grandfather says you're part of this family too now.
Yeah.
Seeing him just sitting in the corner, he looked dejected. He really looked like, and his own doing. He was the one who broke off the engagement. But seeing him just kind of like, this is where you sit now, because you can't marry her because it's going to keep your mother alive to not. The Italian stereotypes in this movie, by the way, are just off the hook, insane.
Yeah. It actually, the biggest question I got from this movie that you might be able to help me out with.
Yeah.
What the hell is pasta fagioli?
Pasta fagioli, it is a soup. I'm gonna pull it up. I will read the Google thing. So.
Oh, you're Googling? Oh, your Italian ancestors are shamed.
Yeah, I know, but I have to do this. God help me. This is the actual spelling, though. It's like pasta e fagioli. Yeah, pasta fagioli is a Italian soup with hearty ground beef, fresh vegetables, creamy beans. It's almost like a stew, but it's soup.
Oh, okay. So
yeah,
I probably wouldn't like it. I'm not a big fan.
Probably not. This is not one of the soups that they serve at the Olive Garden.
Oh, okay.
Or maybe you can order Olive Garden, but it's not like one of their standards. It's not the zuppa, nor is it the minestrone.
Okay.
And I can't remember the last time I've eaten in an Olive Garden because,
we haven't. I mean, they play a small role, but their uncle.
Oh, the uncle character, yeah,
uncle and aunt Rita and Uncle Ron.
Pull it up for you. Yeah, Rita and Raymond.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what? For as small as the roles they had, I really liked them.
Yeah, I mean, for a movie that is all in on Moonstruck, New York, when the moon is full and hits your eye like a big something or other, you're gonna have to have that horny old couple. And that's kind of the for what they need to do to service the story, they're fine. I was waiting for that to come back because they do a close-up. They do a tight close-up of Loretta putting the money in a bag, and I'm like, all right, they're not doing the close-up for no reason. I mean, Norman Jewison is a master director. He has directed some great movies. That is not a no-reason shot. And then when they're like, we went to the bank, and it's like, oh my God, it's like, it's just resolved.
You know what? It's like become one of those tropes where, I took the money. Oh no! It's the fact that they just they do that trope, but they don't follow through with it. It's like, you know what? That's kind of refreshing at this point.
Yeah, no, I mean, looking at the time too, I'm like, okay, you can wrap this up now.
Yeah, and you know what? For the most part, this movie is amusing. I didn't find it like straight out funny until the end breakfast. Like some of the awkward silences. That's when I was like, okay, this is actually kind of funny here.
Yeah.
That's when I started laughing.
Yeah, exactly. And just, Rose just being straight up with Cosmo. I don't want you seeing that woman ever again.
Yeah.
Yeah. It worked. Yeah, you're right. This is not a funny movie. It is a romantic comedy with very few laughs. I mean, then again, if we're the high watermark for 80s romantic comedies is When Harry Met Sally. I'll fight anybody.
No, I don't think you're wrong. I don't think you're wrong at all.
Yeah, no, it is, just in terms of just straight up romantic comedies, it is, and it closed out the decade. So, excellent movie.
For me, the only one that might come close to that would be Princess Bride.
Yeah, Princess Bride's got all those other elements there.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, it's more than just a romantic comedy.
Exactly, because there's a lot more going on with that. Just in terms of just a straight up, you know, we don't get a
Fighting,
lot of Boston
your
romantic comedies,
revenge.
so we gotta deal with our rivals in New York. So
Yeah. But hey, you
uh,
know what?
overall, I mean, this is a fine movie. This is a good, and I think it's appropriate too because we are coming up on Valentine's Day.
Yeah.
To pick this movie because it is. I think it's a good romantic comedy for anybody who has never seen it before.
Absolutely, yeah.
And as long as you're not expecting something more high concept, I mean, this is about as lo-fi a movie as possible. The credit sequence when they do the splash for the title looks cheap, and I don't know if that's just my eyes are 35 years older than they were back then.
Yeah, I mean, you know what? It's not. It doesn't scream Oscar bait movie for it. It screams really good movie, and this is a movie I would not mind watching again.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, again, I think it's a good movie to watch, with somebody.
Yeah,
it's very awkward watching this by myself. Yeah, okay, I was gonna watch Moonstruck. I will say though, if you want another good romantic comedy that actually is funny, check out Broadcast News, which was also nominated for Best Picture. It was by no means a runner-up. It won nothing that year, but it's a romantic story where you've got Holly Hunter and William Hurt who have this tense, very physical relationship, but you've got Albert Brooks who is constantly pining over Holly Hunter. His scene when he is forced to deliver the news is one of my favorite scenes, like just in terms of newsroom scenes, because he just gets on and he just begins to sweat and sweat. He sweats through the entire news broadcast. I love Albert Brooks. If it weren't for the fact I think Sean Connery was given, his Untouchables Oscar for really for that career, the career he's had, Albert Brooks kind of deserved that because he was so good in that movie. He's the one who gives it the heart, even though he's not the romantic lead of the movie. And it's a James L. Brooks movie, so we know what we get when we get James L. Brooks because we've watched the Tracy Ullman Show. He's been the producer of The Simpsons, so we know we're going to get a very smart comedy. Yeah. I don't even think it's streaming anywhere, though. I'm going to look. I will tell you in a second, but I'm fairly certain you're going to go through your local library to find it. Broadcast News. Oh, here we go. Oh, it's on Stars. And apparently Prime Video. So definitely check it out. It's a good movie. So, yep, that's all I got to say about Moonstruck. Currently, right now, it's on Prime, and it's on every one of the ad-supported free channels. I watched it on Tubi, so you can get it there. I'm amazed too because Tubi was doing a lot of updates this weekend.
Oh, really?
So it was like it took me forever to have to go find it, and then it took me forever to go back to it. When I had to resume it, things happen. So we want to know, what are your thoughts on Moonstruck? Leave a polite comment below. Let us know where this ranks in your list of romantic comedies. Also, if you haven't done so already, check out our other Oscar rants that we've run the last couple of weeks, where we talked about the movie Network, and we talked about Citizen Kane. I'm not sure, Mike. We are not live next week, correct? Or are we?
No, we are.
We are live next. All right, we will be live next Tuesday.
Yeah.
When we are going to tackle a movie from the 90s that should have won Best Picture. And in that, I'm not even calling it also ran. It should have won Best Picture. But you'll have to guess and wait find out. With that said, if you want to make sure that you are kept in the loop, hit the subscribe button. Give this video a thumbs up too, because it helps us in the algorithm. Mike and I also host a little podcast called Geek Salad. You can check that out wherever you get your podcasts. You can also follow us on the socials. We are on Facebook at Geek Salad Podcast, and we are on Blue Sky at Geek Salad Radio. The BSKY, blah, 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 blah. Technically still on Twitter, but I'm not. If you follow us there, I'm not following anybody back. I'm not taking calls there. It's just there so we don't lose the domain. Yeah. But yeah, check out that. Check out all our other videos as well, because we do this every week. We've done tons of themed retro reviews, so we really want you to delve in there and see how the act has grown over the years. Just like my beard, how has the act grown? 3 more weeks.
Then it's all coming off.
Well, I'm gonna keep my regular beard, but this nonsense, because I mean this is just a gray streak at this point. I mean it's just. I mean I joked on Blue Sky. I'm like, this Shakespeare love beard has essentially gotten me onto a box of Smith Brothers cough drops. I look like Benjamin Harrison, one of those obscure presidents right now.
Hey, you know what? You're rocking it.
I'm trying to. I still can't curl my mustache up, though. Trying to. Maybe the waxes that they offer will allow me to do that, but I'm still waiting to hear back from my hair person. So anyway, with that said, hopefully that moon will hit you in the eye like a big pizza pie. And I hope that pizza pie is delicious, by the way.
You know what? That pizza pie, it's amore.
It's amore. It's also got mushrooms and pepperoni on it. So anyway,
it's not amore for me then.
That's me. That is my go-to order. So anyway, until next time, I'm Andy.
I'm Mike.
Go forth and be nerdful. We will talk to you next week.